Hi, this is Revel, and I'd like to welcome you to Verbs in the Universe of Discourse, Lesson 1. All verbs in English are compound verbs. In all likelihood, the first time that you suggest this concept to your students, you'll find that one student will raise their hand, and that will be Sally, and Sally will ask in her sweet little voice,
Mr. Arroway, if all verbs in English are compound verbs, what about the simple present and the simple past? Aren't those, by their very definition, one-word simple verbs?
You'll probably sigh and then reply, well, yes and no, Sally. Now do let me explain. First, we have to define what a compound verb is. A compound verb is a combination of the so-called helping or auxiliary verb and a particular form of the main verb. The forms of the main verb I will go into in more detail in Lesson 2. For now, I'll name each one briefly as we talk about compound verbs. The auxiliary will be part of the construction that helps us to understand the time frame, or tense, as well as the mode of the main verb that follows it. For this course, the main helping verbs are going to be go, do, and have. Let's start with be as a helping verb. Be as an auxiliary is part of the construction of the mode known as the progressive, or continuous. We will conjugate the auxiliary be according to the person, or subject, and the time frame, or tense. The main verb will be a present participle form, which is the root of that verb with an ing stuck on the end. The continuous mode can be set in three tenses: the past, the present, and the future. In each of these, be will be in the desired tense, but the main verb will continue always to end with ing, no exception. Let's go on to go as a helping verb. When go is being used as a helping verb, that means that we are in one of the three future tenses. But in order to use go as a helping verb in this future tense, we must first place go in the continuous mode. This means that be will be correctly conjugated according to person and tense. You will have the ing stuck onto go, but that's just the first part. The main verb that follows be going will be in the infinitive form, which means that you will stick to before the root of the verb. Next up is do, which is the essential auxiliary. And here's where we have to explain clearly to Sally the concept of compound verbs. Okay, Sally, you asked about simple tenses. It is true that at first glance a sentence in the simple present or the simple past looks as if the verb is all alone, without any auxiliary. But this is only true when the sentence is affirmative, that is, a positive sentence. If you take the same sentence and you change it into a question or a negative, then you will have to add the auxiliary do. What's more, if you want to put special emphasis in a sentence, for example, if your listener doesn't believe what you're saying, you can add the auxiliary do to give your sentence that emphasis. So even though the auxiliary do is invisible in the majority of affirmations, you can add it. It is also obligatory in questions and negatives in the simple mode. If we assign points for each use, we get 1 point for questions, 1 point for negatives, and half a point for emphatic statements, whereas a simple affirmation only gets half a point. The auxiliary do is present in 2.5 instances in the simple mode and is only invisible in half. This means that even the simple mode is a compound mode. Whenever do is visible in the compound construction, it's conjugated according to the person and the tense, and the main verb that follows it will always be in the root form. In addition, do is the only auxiliary that you can omit, and only in the case of an affirmative sentence in the simple mode. All of the other auxiliaries must be used in all tenses and modes, whether they represent affirmations, questions, or negatives. Let's take a brief look at have as a helping verb. Have is used to construct the perfect mode, and as with all the other auxiliaries, have will be conjugated according to the person and the tense. A verb that follows have will be in the past participle form. I just mentioned it, but it's worth repeating. As with all the other auxiliaries, except in the case of the two simple tenses in non-emphatic affirmations, in all cases the auxiliary will be present, conjugated according to tense and person, while the main verb will be in the particular form required by the auxiliary. So, reviewing, with be, the form of the main verb will be the root plus ing. In the case of go, the form of the main verb will be the infinitive, to plus the root, remembering that go has already been placed in the continuous. If the auxiliary is do, the main verb will always be the root form. And if the auxiliary is have, it will be followed by the past participle. I think that's enough for now. Thanks for watching Lesson 1. Now you can move on to Lesson 2, 1, 2, 3, Simple Verb Conjugation, where I will explain these different verb forms more clearly. Thanks. Cheers.